Hey everyone, welcome to our midweek moment. So today we're going to look at Revelation 5 verses 11 through 14. I provided that link there for you to read on your own. The question before us, how do we do our best and how do we be and do good in these remaining months of 2025? I realize it's been a minute since we've gotten together, but I've needed time to just process everything that has been happening in our world. I need to process the reactions that I've been seeing on social media. I need to process all of the clickbait headlines that come across my news feed on my phone. And I have to ask myself, in this crazy world that we live in, how do we go about being good and decent people as we have been created in the image of God? To be good and decent in a world that is overwhelming is a challenge. This past week, our epistle reading out of Revelation, our verses today remind us that goodness is not defined by our own strength. Goodness is not defined by our own standards. Goodness is defined as we align ourselves with, as we hear in verse 12, the Lamb who is worthy. And in case we have forgotten, that is Jesus Christ. These verses out of Revelation are centered on the worship of Jesus only. They are not centered on the worship of egos. Today's vision in Revelation tells how all of creation bowed down before Christ. Doing good and living in our world, being the best versions of ourselves today means that our lives are more than our status, our money. They are more than our successes. Instead, it is about centering our life around and on those things which honor God, which are love, truth, grace, and compassion, and so much more. Notice in our text today that the angels and the creatures, they didn't compete for glory. They gave glory. Seems a little countercultural to what I've been seeing. Honestly, I don't see a lot of humility in our culture. And it seems that serving others must come with the expectation of praise of what we've done. When I look at my social media, when I look at the news, when I look at our leadership, I have to ask myself, how are we doing good? Our verses today begin with, I heard the voice of many angels, living creatures and elders, numbered myriads and myriads, thousands and thousands. They were singing in a full voice, worthy is the Lamb. All of creation joined in that song. Man, when I read those verses and the surrounding verses out of Revelation 5 today, I'm reminded that our goodness should ripple out to everyone that we meet. So in 2025, amid all of the craziness and amid all of the cynicism, Revelation shows us a picture of Christ-filled hope. Circling back to being a good and decent person in the remaining months of 2025 comes with carrying that hope into our everyday living. It's about choosing kindness when it's easier to be cruel. It is about being generous when it is easier to hoard. It is about living in peace when it is easier to fight. Be reminded today that it is all about living as part of God's great song in the ways that we act, that we speak, and that we care for one another. May our prayer carry forward this week. May our prayer be, let my words, my choices, and my actions reflect your love, God, Creator, Redeemer, and Sustainer. All of God's people said amen. I'll see you in church on Sunday, my friends. Have a good week.